Hey all, welcome to the channel. We've got another brilliant Frankenstein Dracula variation to go through today. This game was played in 1907 between Savielly, Tartakower and Rudolf Spielmann. A very interesting game. So we'll start off as usual, e4, e5, knight c3, knight f6, bishop c4, knight takes, queen h5, threatening f7, knight d6, protecting f7, bishop b3 moving away from the knight, knight c6, protecting e5, knight b5 trying to lure at d6 knight away from the f7 protection, g6 attacking the queen, queen f3, and now this is where another move is played that's quite interesting. I don't think it could be played actually, I've never seen it actually been done, but knight f5 is the computer variation as well. So knight f5 to block the queen, and now white continues g4, and here Spielmann played a6 attacking the white knight on b5. So I thought maybe white could move this away, knight c3, but black gets quite a good attack with knight d4. The queen's forced to move, and black can actually play d5 here. If queen takes, queen e7 takes, knight takes, the bishop is attacking g4, so it has to be pushed or protected. Pushed is probably better because otherwise h5 ideas will come. And now black can play c5 and bishop e6. Black really has a comfortable game here, which is quite interesting. In the game, Tartakower took on f5, g takes, black recaptures, and now f takes g6, and queen f3 and the bishop on b3 are attacking f7 once again. So queen e7 is played to protect it. White can now play g takes f7 check, the king is forced to d8, and white plays d3 to stop e4 ideas from black. Black comes in with knight d4 attacking the queen, and the queen comes in to protect f7 and now is threatening bishop g5 to win the queen. So there's a few variations here. I was looking at knight takes b3 mostly. So knight takes b3, c takes b3 is mainly forced. White could play bishop g5 actually, winning the queen. Black could take on a1, check, bishop takes, king d2, and white's got a really comfortable game here actually. Rook takes a2, knight f3, d6, and something like rook g1. I don't see how black can keep that knight on a1, and it looks like rook g8 is a massive threat. Knight takes b3, c takes b3 can also be played by white. Bishop g7 to stop bishop g5. Knight f3 just developing. Rook f8 maybe from black to attack the f7 pawn. Bishop g5 attacking the queen. Takes, takes, knight g5. White again is in quite a comfortable position. The h pawn is attacked, and the f7 pawn is just an absolute monster in all these variations. It's really hard for black. Instead of knight takes b3, which I think is a bad move for black, Spielmann played bishop g7, stopping ideas of bishop g5. Tartakower played knight f3, attacking the knight on d4. And now rook a6 from black, trying to get the rook into the game and cause some havoc. Maybe rook g6 could be played. Knight takes d4 was played, e takes d4 check, and king f1. And now rook g6 from black. I still think white has the advantage, but black is starting to come into this game slightly. Bishop d2 developing the last piece, d6, and now rook e1 was played in the game, attacking the queen. Rook g1 was probably the preferred move actually, because we're threatening rook takes g6 here, and we'll recapture on g6 with the queen and attack the bishop. Rook takes g1 was most likely to be played, king takes g1, something like queen e5 threatening to swap queens, but after queen f3, queen f5 and queen g2. The queens do eventually get swapped off in this variation, but white now can come in with bishop g5, king d7 and rook e1. Black's in a lot of trouble here. If something like king c6, rook e8, we're just trying to promote his f7 pawn. There's no move for black here, they can't take the rook, and if something like rook f8, think they just play bishop to e7, and black's in a bit of a mess. The best thing to do is play rook f8, but actually bishop d5 from white. Rook e7 is a massive threat, and black is in a terrible position and is lost. However, in the game, white played rook e1, and here black played bishop g4, attacking the queen. And now another interesting move here will be queen takes g6, because then bishop h3 check, queen to g2 to block, takes, and now we've got two pieces for the queen for white. But I still think white's in a better position, because after h4, h6, let's say rook h3, the f7 pawn and the white squares are all whites, and they've got two rooks. The rook on h8 is going to be really hard to get out as well. It can't move to the best two squares it wants to go to, because his pawn is in the way. In the game though, they swap queens. Rook takes e7, bishop takes h5, and then rook back to e1, save the rook. Bishop f3, attacking the rook, and Tartakower played rook g1, and if rook takes here, king takes, something like h6, stop bishop g5, rook e6, bishop h5. We can try and move like bishop takes h6 here, and if bishop takes, rook can take on h6, and if rook takes, white gets a queen. And if rook takes back, we can check and get the queen, trade off a few pieces, and white is 2 pawns up, so should be better. In the game, Spielmann played bishop e5, attacking the pawn on h2. Tartakower played bishop h6. This is quite an interesting move. So here, if rook takes, we can go check, and then king e7, let's say, we can get a queen. So that can't happen. So instead of that, king e7 was played, and now a really good move, bishop g7. The bishop on e5 is pinned, the rook on h8 is attacked, and the rook's got moved basically. Rook d8 was played. Bishop takes e5 was played by white. D takes, rook takes, check, king f8, trying to save the position and stop the pawn on f7 from advancing. Tartakower would play rook g3, attacking the bishop, and bishop c6 to retreat. Tartakower doubled rooks, and rook d6 was played to protect. Rook h5, attacking the pawn on h7, and now black played rook takes g3. H takes g3, and now h6 to protect the pawn. And here the idea from Tartakower is, you just look at the position, he is, how many pawns? He's 2 pawns up, so let's just start rolling these pawns up. g4 was played. Bishop f3 to attack on g4, and now rook takes b5 though, so black has just lost another pawn for nothing. b6 to protect b7, and now rook e5 from white, threatening rook e8 check. Rook d8 was played to protect it, and now g5, this pawn's going really far up. I think they should have taken it. H takes, rook takes, maybe king e7, rook g3, bishop c6, and f3. Black's still in the game, but if you just think about it, if you swap these pieces off, black's going to lose. I think it's just a matter of technique and time before black resigns in this position. So for this reason, after g5, black decides to play h5 and advance their own pawn. But after g6, this is just game over. White's threatening to play rook e8, so let's say black continued here. We can just play check, takes, queen please, takes, and g7. There's no way to stop the king from getting over here, because the bishop's just raking down and the pawn's covering the square. And this was just another example of an interesting game with the Frankenstein Dracula. So let's have a look at this again. Queen f3 was played, knight to f5, an interesting move and variation. Now this, I feel like it favours white, and that's probably why I've not seen it as much. This is probably why f5 took over the theory, but nevertheless it was a very interesting game. Hope to see you soon.